Welcome back to episode 6, I think. It's 6, right? We're on 5.
Thereabout.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
So
somewhere.
okay, so I'll just call it episode 6 and I'll figure it out when we get there. Of Tiswa Nwajo, the people behind all the media that you guys see on Texan. We're still without Ed because he's still on compassionate leave. All the very best with your exams. So this week, I would like to introduce the team. I'm going to keep doing new things every episode. To my immediate right is FARAI Editor, known contrarian, Instagram flex boy, and a savage on Twitter. He does
Instagram what?
Instagram flex boy.
What?
and the greatest savage on Twitter. Oh, he's in my top 5. He's in my top 5 of greatest Twitter savages, and he writes articles, some interesting articles on Texan. Might want to check those out. Might want to check mine out first, but you can check his out. And then to my left is SHAMISO, our social media editor. I don't know how to describe Shami.
You don't have nothing to lie about. You can't call her Twitter flex girl or anything.
Well, I'll find something. Shami is rambunctious. She's fun. I've never heard her not being positive, which kind of scares me.
Oh no, it happens.
What do you mean it happens?
It happens sometimes.
I don't believe that.
Really?
No, I don't believe that.
No, it happens. I have my days.
I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, no, that says more about you guys than it says about me.
How so?
It means that you guys... No, really. Okay, on a serious note, usually you're just a result of your environment most of the time. So it just means that you guys are cool.
I thought you meant we don't notice.
No.
Okay.
No. You just haven't seen it.
I hope we see it soon because it'll break the positive. I don't want it to happen, of course, but I just just one day to see angry Shami would be cool. Just to see what she'd be like.
This man said he hopes to see you angry. That's a scary thing. I would watch my back if I'm angry.
Nah, you probably won't see me. Not super angry. Nah, that's not my vibe. Well, nah, that's not my vibe.
All right. So sitting in between them is me. My name is Valentine. I am the coolest person it takes in. Bar none. They're all the second coolest, but I'm the coolest person it takes in. I'm also the nicest person around. Okay, I'm just lying. I write.
Nice and cool doesn't usually. It's not a happy thing.
Okay, let me be honest. I'm one of the shadows it takes in. And that's the best way to describe it. A writer as well. Like I said before, check my stuff out before you check my stuff.
What does shadow mean?
That guy who just lurks, just thereabouts.
That is so creepy.
Yes.
That's what I wanted to say. Serial killer fans.
I'm not a serial killer. Far from it. Nothing has been proven yet. That's all I'm going to say. So this is a show where we just, have a quote unquote human conversation. Well, there are two humans here, which are Shami and FARAI. I'm just a spectator. I won't say where I'm from, but where we just basically talk about anything. So before we started, Shami for the first week was unprepared, and I wasn't betting on FARAI to be prepared. So I'm going to start and say this is a bit off topic for Zim, but then again, it's one of those things that is been in the public eye or whatnot for the past 2 or 3 days, and obviously we all know what it is. It's the United States elections.
Yeah.
I was literally going to use that.
Yes.
Oh,
Good.
Yeah, now I'm on 0. Oh, Valentine, why?
Why not? Like I'm saying to y'all guys, like this is how this podcast. We're not prepared, and I'm glad that it shows now that I've picked everybody's topic. So I'm safe this time. Going first saved me. I think I should do this more often. So my questions to you guys is: who are you supporting? Although it means very little to us because the knock-on effect to us is probably minimal. But like just from a political theater point of view, like who are you supporting? Why? I think that's where I'll start.
I'm not really. I can't say I'm supporting anyone. You know, like sometimes, well, in fact, most of the time, when you're not on the ground, you don't see what exactly is going on. Like I have no idea what the States is like besides what I've seen on TV. So I don't really know. I can't say I was supporting anyone, but like most people, I was obviously to a certain extent rooting for Biden, just simply because it's something different. And I like to see democracy, like people's rights being exercised. You know what I mean? Where it actually matters. So for me, that's a big deal to watch that when people say, yeah, we're voting and it's gonna change something, and it actually does. Like, you know, their votes matter. So that's it's entertaining to watch. But I can't really say I'm supporting or anything like that. It's really just it's intriguing more than anything.
Okay.
So maybe similar to Shami in that not necessarily support, but I would say definitely want to see Trump out of there for two particular reasons. I mean, some people say he's been good for the economy. I can't speak against or to that. I do not have enough information. But my problems with the guy is he's too chaotic for my liking. Like 4 more years of waking up to weird tweets from him, too chaotic for my liking. And when I've seen him speak many times, it seems he gets off on dividing people. He seems like a person who is trying his best to pull people apart, and for me, that just doesn't sit right. That's I fail to understand it. So like I don't necessarily have a problem with people who support him or think he's been good for the economy and all that. I can't speak to that. But from what I've seen, at least when I see him speak or when I hear him speak, he sounds like a person who is out to hurt people. That's what it sounds like to me. He doesn't sound like a person there to unite people. And for me, that's a bit worrying. So I'd rather he not win. Would I be crushed if he did? Not necessarily, but I would be tired for the next 4 years. Like, oh my God, this guy, he seems like a maniac to me, at least. Like, not to say he's not intelligent, but he seems like there's something wrong there. Like, so yeah, for the sake of peace, I would rather he goes. So
yeah.
If it's a reflection of anything, it's that I really don't know anything about Biden as well. But I think he will be less chaotic than Trump. That's what I think.
Yeah, just for a bit of faith in humanity as well. Because I mean, if Trump wins again, it shows you like the higher percentage of people in the thought pattern that they have. It's like,
it's just
it's pretty frightening. But like I'm not totally sold on the Biden guy because like he just seems like he's a political algorithm. You know, like he's better, obviously, like orders of magnitude better. But like the dude does not seem like he stands for anything. Like I watch, like I've been watching American political theater for a while because we can't really call it serious politics because 99% of the time it's PR stuff. They just show you the stuff that you're meant to see, the stances you're meant to see, all the serious stuff is back channel stuff that happens behind closed doors and all that kind of stuff. So I've mainly treated it like a TV show, like, House of Cards or something like that. And like, if you dig deep into these people's histories, you see the weird positions they held, and Biden held some seriously weird positions back in the 90s. I was like, yo, bruh, like seriously. Oh, and then now, like, it's like how they rehabilitate their image when it's time to go for president or when things change. Like the gay marriage act. I think he was against it back in the 90s, because I remember seeing a video where he was legit against it. Even Hillary at some point was against it as well, Hillary Clinton. And then when it became in vogue, these guys kind of sort of rehabilitated their image to make it look as if, they had been with y'all all along. And I'm like, not really. The guy I was going for, like, the guy I thought would be the Democratic nominee, would be Bernie Sanders, because for us, he's the best example for what Africa should be going towards, something that is more people-centric. Because, like, his views are mainly based on, let's get healthcare to the people. Your taxes should amount to you getting healthcare from the government, like what Canada and all the countries do. And then, let's try to make tertiary education as affordable as possible, because it's expensive to send someone to university. It's like an entire investment to do that. Although, and I can see why people now look at, university and say, I'd rather invest X amount of money, let's say, ballpark figure, like the 15, 20,000 that you're going to use. Yeah, or it could be more in America, because it's in the hundreds of thousands.
Way more.
Yeah, and let me take that money and start a business, instead of using that money. But if education is important, like, I know people say, university just barely gets you there, barely gets you prepared. But then again, the information you learn there is vital, like in the way you think, especially. And like, his mindset has always been like that, because I was checking out videos of him, like, back in the 70s, and he's pretty much been saying the same thing since he was like elected as mayor of what's that town called? I forgot the town until he became senator. He's been saying the same thing, and I'm like, isn't this the consistency that people should look for in a leader? But then Biden looked like the safe option for president, because he appeals, like, Bernie's too left, and I got that. Like, my hope in him getting there was, more like, hey, if it happens, it's going to be monumentous. But it didn't, because Biden is the safe option. He's center. So, some people on the right will bite on his message, and then the left, because we can't see Trump in there for another 4 years, will bite on his message. And, he's the biggest magnet. And it's kind of showing with the way the votes have gone. I think he's on 71 million or something, which is the most that any American president has ever gotten in an election, which kind of shows the strategy. And I get it. The point of this election was just to get old Orange Boy out. And true to that.
Yes,
like, what yeah, because what you were saying, FARAI, is absolutely spot on. The guy just creates chaos for chaos's sake. Like, you don't need to antagonize people like that. And then the worst thing it does.
Maybe another thing to just add to that is, so even people who defend the economic policy and whatnot, is that's fair and fine. Maybe he has made strides there, but socially, man, that guy is tearing the place apart. I don't think you can deny that. Like, he can't navigate those situations with the nuance they require. That's what I feel. But more interesting is, why are all those guys seem like very old, like worryingly old, isn't it? Like,
yeah, it's one of the things that I was concerned about. That do you not have young leaders capable enough to lead a country? Are you still looking at old heads to get people out there? And I can get it for Republicans, because Republicans, well, the current iteration of the Republican Party, because it's gone through many versions in its past, sorry, seems to lean more to the and I won't mince words here, to the white male who's of a certain age. And I'm like, don't you have like the I don't know how Ricky Rubio's doing or whatnot. Is that his name even? There's a guy, Rubio, who's a senator.
Rubio, I know, is a basketball player.
He's basketball, the point guard, yeah. So Rubio, I don't know if I got his name right, but Rubio, I might have actually referenced the basketball player, but the Senator Rubio from wherever he was with, he was one of the runners at some point. I don't know, like, he's young, he seems young enough, but I don't know why they don't push for that. They seem to go for the older, type, and that's even the Democrats. Like, Bernie Sanders was really old. Like, the guy, I think, had a heart attack or something close to during the primaries. And you're like, we should be looking to the younger generation to take over, because although Bernie's mind is progressive, I don't think the strain of being president is going to be good for his body because, we all saw how Obama aged. Guy went in there, fresh-faced guy, came out grayer than ever. I was like, yeah, you don't want this for someone who's north of 75 to be in that position.
Yeah.
So I
guess we all agree that the guy has to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's about time.
But yeah, there's some interesting stuff. A lot of people I seem to be seeing, even like people in Zim, a lot will say he should stay, blah blah blah. But I didn't really look into that much.
Yeah.
Just found it pretty intriguing.
But like, if you're Zimbabwean and you're saying you support Trump, okay, your political affiliations are your own, and you're allowed to have that, even though it doesn't affect you. But like, and it's your opinion, which you're entitled to, fair enough. But we're also entitled to have an opinion of your opinion, and you should be open to that. And my opinion on that is that, yo, bruh, like, what are you getting? Like, this guy preaches everything that we don't want. We don't want to, start a situation where races or tribe, especially in Africa, where tribalism is a big issue, where there's a separation of that. People start saying, okay, us and them. Like, nah, we don't want something like that. And what it does, it then like gives the other autocrats around the world the kind of,
it really gives
the
them
kind of going like, okay, so the big guy, yeah. So like the Dutertes in, I think, was it Philippines or Thailand or whatever, also start their own stuff. The Bolsonaros in Brazil also get, hyped up, and then obviously bad. Although no one can do anything to Putin, but he will just have a little bit more wiggle room to do things because
and maybe an example actually closer to home is when Trump yesterday, he was saying the election is being rigged, or they're trying to steal the election. I don't know what exactly he said. We already had like local officials. I think the spokesperson for the Ministry of Information who jumped on that immediately, and he said, look, it's everywhere. Controversy surrounding elections is everywhere. So it's just, it's hard to give that guy a green light when everything connects with everything like that. And now he's giving these guys impunity, and they're already hinting at chaos. And it's just, I don't know, he's just too much for me personally. Just way too much.
And like, he inflames people in a way that I don't understand. Like, you don't want to, like what you're saying at the beginning is dividing people. Now, when I was just walking downstairs early in the morning, I was watching CNN. Although CNN is probably not the best place for you to get your news, because they're very left leaning, and I'm as liberal as they get, and they irk me in the worst of ways. But like, when you hear reports of, people who are counting votes, like, these are people who legit have taken their time to stay overnight to make sure people get results. And you've got Trump fans and MAGA guys outside chanting, stop the vote. And I'm like, yo, these guys are exercising your you don't understand how lucky you guys are that you have a process this transparent, that it's by the hour.
Yeah.
And you guys get to vote by mail, early in advance. You guys get catered to. Your democracy gets catered to a point where you, like, for us, we dream of stuff like that, where you get, people our elections, although not dip into the political, because don't have time in politics, but you're an example. You're an example to the rest of the world, and you guys are protesting the fact that other citizens were able to exercise their constitutional right in a manner that you didn't agree to, and we're in a pandemic. I was just so confused.
And that wasn't that because he wrote some letter where he said, where he signed off, let's fight back, and man, for me, it's a no for me. He's not my guy. He's not my guy.
Yeah. It's the strange state of affairs that we're going to go into, and hopefully, if Biden wins, we can, like, the one thing that I've constantly been hearing from, like, independent political pundits, like, if you want to check these guys out, like Packman and Kyle Kalinske, you can check those out if you really want to, like, have a scan at the liberal side of American media. The guys are quite partial as well. I think Kyle Kalinski's channel is called Secular Talk. You can also check out the Majority Report with Sam Cedar. Those guys are really good too. And if you're on the right wing, you can check out your Benjamin Shapiro's, because just to be fair, because you might as well.
Alex Jones.
Alex Jones, yeah, you can check out your Alex Jones's. You can check out, what's his name? LaRush Limbaugh. You can check out there's one more I'm forgetting. Stephen Crowder. Loud with Crowd. You can check out those guys if you're a right-wing fan and you can see what they're saying. Just be partial. But the one thing that David Pakman said this morning, I think on one of his recorded episodes, was that there are people like there is no shift. There is no we're going to the good side, or America is going to the good because we've elected Biden. We have to remember about the millions, the tens of millions of people who voted for Trump. And are those people going to be catered to? How are they going to feel going into this era? Was still made true by the fact, made worse by the fact that Trump is saying that the election was rigged when it wasn't. And what's going to happen? Because we saw the Black Lives Matter movement and all the protests. Could we? And I'm not trying to stir up anything here. Speculation. Could we see something of a right-wing version of that? Because I think he's sitting at 68 million votes, and those are more votes than he got in 2016. So sorry, what are you saying? No,
I'm saying that's a lot of votes. The 68 million.
Yeah, it's crazy. And how are they going to react if in the event that he loses? Like, and I know this episode will probably come out when we have some sort of certainty with the results or some sort of direction. So these are just thoughts at the time.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we'll know who the president is at that point by the time this comes out.
Plus, I'm also rooting for Biden because someone on Twitter said they're gonna post a twerking video if Biden wins. So
what motivates this guy?
That's more motivation than anything. This is me directly benefiting now. Like, maybe I don't know. I could go next. I stumbled upon an interesting thought. 10 million on the line. Are you guys signing up for Big Brother Africa or any of those kind of shows where you guys are like in one house, like Love Island, Big Brother type shows? Are you guys signing up? We put the money on the line and you go there for like a month or whatever.
So do I get the 10 million just for signing up, or 10 million to win?
No, you get it to win if you win. It's actually too much, even like 1 million, yeah.
Well,
USD, of course.
Yeah, if it was Zimquacha, then I'd never ever use it. But yeah, I think I'll compete. I think it'll be interesting to be, part of that kind of environment. I'm pretty sure I'll get voted out first, but like I'm pretty sure it'll be cool to sit with people and act like we're living normal lives.
Why would you get voted out first? Is it because people similar to Valentine don't watch that kind of stuff, so they can't vote for their own kind, or
for their own kind? Yeah, that and like the first few days I'll be there out sussing out, I'll be too tactical with it, and then people will figure it out that this guy is trying to divide us, trying to bring us apart. He's trying to win this money, and
he's trying to Donald Trump the Big Brother house.
Yeah, I'll definitely go in there all tactical, man. Like because I'm not trying to stereotype anyone, but the people who like. But then again, if you say you're not stereotyping, you're pretty much going to. Yeah. So let's not lie to one another here.
Yeah.
So the people that I think watch or participate in that kind of show are people that come in there thinking very highly of themselves. Like, you're going there to make a mark, because the chances of being put it out are high. So you then say, okay, listen, I'm going to be as me or more than that, so that maybe someone or some industry with an interest in my services I can become the host of an MTV based show, or a Channel O show and stuff like that. So those characters I think are interesting to play upon, because it's vanity. So you just be like, the yes man, just agreeing to all kind of stuff while having little nefarious schemes behind, forming alliances. That'd be fun. And on live TV too. Yeah. I would love to be a snake on live TV, to be honest, because that'd be fun.
And then Shami?
Yeah, no, I would. It's not my thing. For several reasons. Like I would watch the show, but like to actually go on, I would never. Simply because I can't imagine being in a house full of strangers. Like I don't know people's habits or people's attitudes, and people. I would, and I'm generally like what you guys said, like literally 99.8, not even 99.9% of the time, I'm literally like, when you catch me, I will be happy, I will be smiling, I'll be positive, literally full time. That's just how I am all the time. That would be the 0.8. Maths half. What is that? 0.1, 0.0, whatever, whatever is remaining from the 100%. After that, that's where you would see me. I cannot, like, literally, like, stay with someone that I don't know and be like, yeah, especially females. Because females, I feel like I'm betraying the whole, but I just have to be honest. Females have issues, bro. Like, they're not easy to deal
what
with.
kind of
Like, in bulk, I feel like I tap out. Like, I feel like why I can't sell out, like, you know what I mean, like the like that.
Yeah. No, I do.
What did you say, Farai?
I said you prefer your females in doses.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, like, yeah, no, it's safer that way. Like, you have to find there's a very delicate balance. You know what I've noticed, just to even like sidetrack for a sec, like females have, like, bro, like, men are loyal. Like, there's that loyalty that's like it's real loyalty as well. But females have this thing where it's a little bit like people, like best friends, like they'll be like, no, but they're still kind of snakish. Like, like someone can be like, no, this is my best friend, but they'll come and tell me something so negative about their best friend that I'm like, I'm pretty sure she wouldn't want me to know this. Yeah, and I'm like, but she'll be like, no, but that's my best friend. Yeah, like, and that's women, that's female.
Like, someone comes to me and they're like, this is my friend, or they tell you something and you're like, I thought you guys were cool. And maybe at that point, maybe they are cool or they're not cool, whatever you get. And then you see them a few weeks later and they're together and it's like, that's kind of weird. Is it not?
Yeah.
I
that's the thing. So, like, the idea, and that's people you know. That's people you know. Like, can you imagine when it's like a house literally where the whole game is strategy and it's like, I could never, because that's not my vibe. Like, it's just not me. Like, I'm too honest for it. Like, I'm too brother. Like, no, I'm not a schemer. Like, I'm too open. It would be like, okay, yeah, we know everything she's doing. Like, so it just wouldn't work. And then I'd also just be so
that would get you fans.
Because you can't really trust anyone on the show.
Like, you being authentic would get you fans, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you'll always be up, like, nominated, isn't it? Like, to go home.
But your fans will save you, though, because, like, they'll like the person you are. They'll be like, you know what? Listen, let's save her because she's the only real one in here, apart from all these snakes, myself included.
Yeah, going up against Valentine. Oh my gosh. Yeah, no, it would be hectic. But it's fun to watch. You know what I mean? Like, watching it, like, I miss Big Brother because it's not even on anymore. Like, I know there was the Nigerian one, but it's nice to see the different countries interacting as well. Like, but yeah, it was interesting to watch. But to go on, I don't think that I would actually prefer, like, even like Survivor maybe.
What? Out in the bush? Nah.
Nah. Survivor and Fear Factor. Hell nah.
Oh, Fear Factor. As long as there's no insects involved.
They're always
I can't do that.
And you're eating them, so it's late. Like,
guys, bugs. I don't do bugs. I don't. Like, not even Ishwas, like, not even that stuff. Like, I don't even, like, when it rains, I'm indoors because I'm like, I'm not, if a bug lands on me, I'm passing out. Like, it's not happening. Like, literally, it's not happening.
I hope your challenge is one way they, like, submerge you in a tank full of roaches, like those giant roaches. And then that's your challenge to get your $1 million. I want to see if you'll do it or not.
No, maybe no for a meal. Maybe like roaches for as long as they're not the ones that make noises. Like
the ones that hiss. The ones that hiss.
No, there you can there you go into focus mode, my friend. For a meal. US,
And then
I would die. I would literally die. Like, yo, they put you in that tank with the snakes. And they're doing that every week, fam. Yo, I would die. I wouldn't even make it to the end. But
snake is where I draw the line. Snakes is where I draw the line. Like, first I need to know, like, I don't know, like other stuff. I'll be like roaches and stuff like that. I'm as long as they're big enough not to fit into my ear and stuff like that, that's fine. I'm good. But if it's like snakes, I'll have to know what kind of snakes, because like I have a fear of constrictors.
Snake and man are mortal enemies.
I know, like for me, the constrictors, your boas, your pythons, I am not good with that, because the whole being strangled to death stuff is not cool. So I don't deal with those. But like you
don't want to get intimate with the snakes.
Not at all. And they're too big. Like I legit saw one like at a zoo. No, thank you. That thing is like, I'm like, nah, listen, nah. Like I can take the small ones, the king snakes, the hognose snakes, the colubrids. I'll sit in that tank and chill with those homies, even if they bite me, because they're venomous, but they don't really have those hollow fangs. So it's alright. I'll sit with those. But I know the constrictors. Nah. Yet. I refuse.
The snakes are a no for me, man. Like I read my Bible too well.
Yeah.
we don't mess with snakes here. But regarding Big Brother, I think I would have the personality to make it as far as semifinals, but I wouldn't go.
No, I think you probably win it though, because
probably.
Because like you're confident enough not to let anything bother you. That's the thing. Because most of the people, when they get into that house, things will then visibly bother them. And the time I've known you, I've not known you to be moved.
To be visibly bothered.
To be visibly bothered. It's one thing I've never seen.
The definition of unbothered, bro.
Like I'm gonna take one of your pictures.
Like literally, Fari's like, I don't care. Like.
Yeah, because no, like you'd make it. Like if I get a picture of you and then make a sticker of an unbothered face, it would legit be off, because I've never ever encountered you in a situation where you're panicked or bothered. He just navigates, like he moves. Like when they say we move, Fari is the definition of we move.
We move. If we move was a person.
Now that you guys know we have to move. But anyway. I don't know if that is a good thing or a bad thing, but I will take it. But the reason I wouldn't go is I'm a bit on the private side. I wouldn't want the celebrity that comes with that. Like I feel like being a celebrity, especially without the money attached to it, like fame without money. Like if there's things you don't want, that's probably high up that list. It's top 3, like fame without money. Don't go there, because you're pressured to be living a certain type of way, and always like you can't make mistakes. One, well, of course you can, but it's gonna be harsh to work past them. And you don't have, like celebs, at least like maybe let's say artists who are like big, at least they have the comfort of material things. And whilst I don't think that's like a huge deal per se, you don't want to be as depressed as they are without the material things at the same time. It feels like an extremely raw deal. Like, I wouldn't. It's too much. That's too much for me.
That's true.
The notoriety is good though. Like, well, for me at least, like I don't take it seriously. Like, I've never been famous, so I'm not going to say I've experienced that. But like the pseudo notoriety that people have when they meet you on the street and they know you, like that's something that for me I don't think would ever bother me. Like, it's just one of those things that I can easily brush aside, because again, it's just who you are and the environment you're with. But I do understand when you say that, without the money, it doesn't make sense. Like, if you have the money to then shelter yourself in a place where no one can find you and, be yourself, probably worth it. But to be a Big Brother celeb, and then come back to Zim where you'll be known, because like the Zim celeb half-life doesn't die. Like for us, you know, if you Big Brother in
Then they'll be like,
2001.
Valentine,
Yeah.
Yeah, and
no, go ahead, Valentine.
No, you're saying something.
I was saying, do we have a celebrity culture here in Zim? Please forgive me, but like I mean celebrity, where it's like someone sees so and so, it's like, you know, can I get a picture? Can you sign something?
I think to an extent, yeah, but to an extent, no, because so part of it is what I said, like sometimes, and what's the best way to describe it? So I'll give an example of myself. I saw Stana. It should have been him. It really looked like him. I'm convinced it was him, but this was a few months ago, before the lockdown.
Okay.
I don't know him that well, but I was like, man, this guy, I know this guy. So I bumped into him at, what is it? Western Union. So phones are not allowed in Western Union. But it was such an awkward thing because everyone was just kind of looking at him like that he's that guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, no one was really like engaging with him, which I think is cool, because you don't always want people in your face, and then people were more concerned about their money, and you know there's strict rules when you're in that place.
Yeah.
So in terms of people being like recognized, I think people now and now, because of Zim celebs and those type of guys, people definitely know the personalities, like they're more recognizable. But whether people are gonna like mob them and elevate them to the extent where maybe celebrities in other cultures who have money, because the thing is, it's really about money. People like worship people with money, because sometimes people with money don't have any sense, right? But people will still like be yes to everything they say, because they're like, he has money, so he must be smart. So there's kind of, I think that's what happens in Zim, where the celebs don't have money, so people don't respect them as much. At least that's what I think happens.
Oh, I think you're right though, because kind of look at Jinimbi, for example. Like his celebrity status is higher than,
Exactly.
in my eyes, is higher than someone like Ja Praiser, who, okay, let's not get into his music, wow, if it's good or bad, but like for me, it kind of seems like you can instantly recognize Jinimbi than Ja Praiser somewhere. Although there's this fan club called the Appreciates, apparently, where Ja Praiser fanboys and girls. I think they'll probably be happy if they saw him, but for the general number of people,
I need to join that. I need, give me directions.
I heard this in passing one night. So apparently there's a serious hardcore following, as I was told. But like, I think you're right. I think, remember Chiango back in the days, Philip Chiango, like he was a celeb in his own right, because the dude was rich. I don't think if you do anything like I don't know the comic pastors or comic pasta, but if I see him, I probably recognize him, but it probably won't move me. But maybe it speaks to my materialistic nature. But if I see Jinimbi rolling that, Ferrari, I'll be like, oh, all right. I'll even, pop by to say what up, or try. But for the other celebs, kind of like, I think I met a Rocky once. Not sure where it was, but it was way, 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 way back, and I wasn't moved. Like I was just like, oh, okay. Yeah, you guys a small country, and then moved along.
Yeah, but I guess the thing is, celebrity, like being famous without money or power, like that makes no sense. I think it's because you'd rather have the money and the power because of what that can get you. Like you're most likely going to hang out with famous people if you have a whole lot of money because of what you can do with it anyway. So you're going to become a celebrity because of that. Because you're rolling with, like, the people you guys mentioned, don't they hang out with, like, at the very least, like, regional celebrities most of the time, like South African celebs and stuff like that?
Yeah, I think they do.
Yeah, because they have the money.
No, that's interesting. But yeah, Zim is a weird. It's the raw deal for
me. But like Zim celebrity culture doesn't really die that quickly though, because you could have done something in 2001 and people will still recognize you. But like in other countries, like if you did something like a decade ago, you're like not even old news, you're ancient history. Like time there moves a lot faster and things move a lot faster than here. Because like the way that I can actually say I remember meeting Rocky somewhere means that he holds some sort of significance. But like in America, if you ask them who Chameleon is or was, they remember Riding Dirty, but they'll never ever like they see him. Like maybe some people recognize him, but people just like, alright, cool. I think we can actually walk in public safely now.
Yeah, true.
I think that's just a reflection of maybe also like population where it's just more people and more things happening there.
True. I think population reflects, but then again, I think it's just the pace of development out there in terms of, you know, what people are doing. Because if we look at what people are doing for clout in America, for example, it's like on the bleeding edge. It's not even cutting edge. It's like past that.
What's the bleeding edge of clout, man?
Man, I recently took a tour of Snapchat briefly because I had never been on it and I was just interested to see what people were doing there. And there are these big accounts, of course, and then there's the random accounts who are trying to grab attention and stuff like that. And some of the exposure they were making of themselves, like the stuff that I couldn't deal with was like some of the, you know, people who try to be intentionally dark to garner people's attention, like that infamy that he's that dark guy, that kind of stuff, trying to be like Tyler the Creator. Well, back in 2007, Tyler the Creator. But like that kind of stuff, I was just like, nah. And then the level of exposure people give them, like body exposure, and I'm like, for fame. Here in Zim, probably in private circles that stuff happens, but I don't think it's there yet where people are doing, you know, ridiculous stuff just to have their video trending on all social media platforms. I don't think we're there
yet. Yeah, I hear you. I think. Well, how did we get here, man? We're talking about Big Brother. Okay.
This happens every week.
I think it's my fault. Like I think I'll take the blame for this one because without Ed to rein me in, I just go walk about.
Yeah.
So Shami, it's on you now.
Yeah, let me bring us back in. Okay, so what happened is, I was not prepared, and then a whole bunch of ideas just came into my head. So I'm gonna pick one. Let me see. All right, let me ask this one.
Were you writing them down?
The other one's good, huh?
Were you writing them down?
No, they're just in my head. Okay, no, I'll save this one for next week. Yeah, okay, so let me do this one now. So do you guys think that there's really in Zim particularly, not in other countries, is there really any advantage of going to a private school?
Oh, wow. You said you're going to bring it down and you just brought it back up. Well, I've kind of had both experiences, the whole private school, public school experience. I'm going to say that what private school does really well are the people that they put around you, in terms of teachers. Like you get these really crazy learner people, and you get these like professors and stuff, and you get these talks from people you'd never even think, you know, would come and talk to a group of 15, 16, 17-year-olds. And I think the level of exposure they give you is really good, as well as the teachers as well, like force you to think broader than you're writing an exam. Like, well, maybe let me speak for myself and say I was lucky enough to have teachers who, you know, forced me to look at things like, it's not just about, and I'll reference my English lit teacher, that it's not just about looking at the text writing exam. There are a whole bunch of thought processes that come here. And she gave me this essay by Walter Benjamin called, what was it called? Humans or Humanity's Propensity to Self-Destruction. And that legit opened my eyes to the fact that, like, that was my first, like, foray into philosophy, like, as a kid. And, like, it kind of shaped how you went forward. And I was like, yo, like, looking back on it, it was a massive opportunity. And even the things they let you do. is like you then you get to explore these little niche subjects and music, and the teachers you get have serious experiences. Like I remember our chem teacher was probably in the field for a very long time and got these crazy insights into how things worked. Like they just maybe it was just my personal experience, because I know some people haven't had very good experiences with private school. But from my point of view, like the exposure is insane. Like especially at the time when I was there, like it's good. It's like at the time when I was a kid, I didn't think it was worth the money. But looking back on it as a parent, it's kind of like, yeah, I don't think my kids will think the way I'm thinking, or will look at life the way I look at it. But like it'll be cool to give them that kind of experience, to say, yeah, you're going to go around these people. And that's not to knock on public school teachers, because there are a lot of people there, because I've been in public schools, there are a lot of people there who are crazy motivated to do their work. They're open-minded. It's the exposure. But what I noticed is that, and again, I'm just speaking for myself, is just that the paycheck doesn't match the person that is, the person in that position. Some of these guys have learned, read a number of things. But like when you're pulling your heart and soul out and you're not getting enough in return, you then go into this, well, speaking for myself, I've had some crazy little menial jobs, so I'm using that as an example. Like when you can't put your heart and soul in something that's not rewarding you at the level that at least keeps you afloat. It's difficult to find people like that.
More than afloat, I think.
Yeah. So public school was crazy, because again, it's this there's a vibe about it. There's a sense of like, yeah, I can't even say competition, but there's a sense of an us sense. The teaching is good, you learn your subject and all that kind of stuff. Personally, in my experience, and again, this is just my experience, I felt a tangible difference when I shifted. Like,
okay,
I could legit feel like, okay, right, I'm gonna need to read up on some of this stuff, because I kind of felt at the time left behind. Well, I'll stop rambling now. Okay. You all have your own stories, I'm sure.
So I agree. I largely agree with Valentine. So for me, it was really, my experience was, I think, quite different from yours, Valentine, because primary school was government throughout, high school was government, and then a private school, Shungu. So I say Shungu because like it wasn't really like that. but I think it still was better than the government institution, or at least the government schools, in that. So from, I think, two aspects I can speak to personally is access to resources.
Yeah.
So even learning material is not as hard to come by. That obviously is going to impact the grades you have, or at least it's going to make it easier to learn. And so I said what resources, and the second, which is I think more important, is, or maybe not more important, but equally as important, is that the teachers are just more motivated because they are not worried about whether they'll be able to buy bread next week. So, and you can't, I don't think you can convince me that people who are not being paid to do a job can do like a great job. I mean, there's some people who are outstanding and love it, and they're in that situation, so they're like, I'll do the best I can regardless, and fantastic. But for my feeling at least is, well, not a feeling, I remember vividly in fifth grade, when I was in fifth grade, that was 2008 or 7. So what happened in fifth grade is, for a whole term there was a strike, and for that whole term, every single day we would go to school and just play from I think from 8 to whenever we went back home, because the teachers weren't coming and it was about money. So you can't convince me, at least from what I've experienced, that people who are not being paid will deliver a service with love and care and whatnot. So those are some of the biggest issues for me. It's just about the motivation of the teachers and the access to resources. And then from an outside looking in perspective, when we really talk about private schools, at least ones I didn't go to, my perspective is another big thing there is exposure. Like, and exposure is like a big thing, because when you don't have it, you don't know how big the opportunities are. And what I can use an example for that is, let's take like Heritage, for instance. This is Heritage present day, or at least last year. I know I was talking to one of the teachers last year, and he was saying the kids who are in like second grade are learning Scratch programming. They're not learning that in government school. Sure. And that could be the difference between your child discovering that they're super passionate about coding and pursuing that and becoming and finding their career, versus them then going on to code at 18 and then discovering maybe it's not their thing and all that. So it's just exposure is like really important. So I do think there's a big difference, and what you pay for is what you get, and kind of unfortunate, but I think there's a huge difference. But sometimes also I think the person always plays a big role. So it's like the student you put in that, students who've been put in the in the private schools with the most exposure, the best resources, the best teachers, and they haven't taken that opportunity, versus a student who's been put maybe some of the worst schools and they've just grinded and then taken that opportunity. So it's so many factors, but the student is also important.
Yeah, definitely. But I think people can look. Sorry, Shami.
You want to go ahead?
We're being very polite today for whatever reason. Yeah. I just wanted to say that, like the student, like what Farah was saying, the student is important. But I can also say that, you can learn things retrospectively. Like there are a number of things that you could be exposed to and not have gotten what it was important in the moment. But there could be some point in time in the future where you can remember that lesson, or that lesson you were taught way back when. And then that kind of has an impact on the direction you're going to move. It doesn't happen always, but I thought it was just something to note.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So it does, well, from a very simple perspective, I guess, and not really digging deep. I'm sure there are like exceptions to the rule, but like most of the time the divide is because of financial status, right? So obviously people do what they can afford. So if government school is more affordable, that's where people will take their kids. And if people can afford private school, that's where they'll take their kids. So most of the time, even your environment is different, right? And I think all three of us can say we come from a privileged background. It's not saying that we like grew up rich or anything like that, no, but it's privilege in terms of even just being able to say that you've seen both sides, because there are some people who haven't experienced that. Like, so for me, I have not experienced both sides. I was private school through and through. The only time I ever experienced like public schools would be when we would interact with the kids from public schools. So, like sports clubs, things like that. And one of the things that I think, because of the different environment that you're in, because at the end of the day, I truly believe that the school that you go to is obviously a result of your financial status. Most of the time, there might be exceptions, but most of the time. So one of the things I noticed, and so I worked at a college for a little while, and when kids would come in, I would notice that the kids from the public schools and the more underprivileged schools, their results were really good. Like their results were really, really good. And I find sometimes the comfort of private school, it can actually be a disadvantage sometimes. Not all the time, because obviously I think the pros outweigh the cons. But it can be because when you're comfortable, and even when your environment is comfortable, I don't know if you're as motivated to do better. Again, there's exceptions to the rule, but I've noticed that they're not exactly like kids from public schools aren't disadvantaged in terms of like what you guys were saying, FARAI and Valentine, that it's about the student. If they put the effort in to say, you know what, I want to get out of the situation I'm in, they're going to do better later on. Like obviously right now it's not comparable, but later on they'll do better because their grades will be better, their work ethic will be better. Whereas private school, sometimes it just feels like we're handed stuff. I hate saying that, but you know, like we're like private school kids, I've seen the difference between like private school kids and then the public school kids where there's this entitlement. And sometimes there's that thin line between no, they're just confident. Because private school, like another thing it does is it brings up very confident people, very, very confident, like people who will be like, listen, I know my worth, which is very important because it's not just about your schooling experience, it's about how you develop as an individual. And that's a big deal. Like you don't want people who will settle for anything later on, you know?
Yeah.
But like sometimes there's that thin line between no, you're just confident and you know your worth, and like I expect things to fall into my lap because look at me, like
so
that's what I'm
definitely true, I think. Like in terms of like the motivation side of things, like how do you motivate someone who is so comfortable? Like how do you get them to realize that no, the idea is you're supposed to push above and beyond what it is you are right now? And yeah, that's a difficult one.
Yeah, because the thing with private schools, I won't out the school I went to because I don't want that kind of backlash. These are people I know. So it's I think Shami, you're right. Like people are really entitled because the one I went to, people there was almost a class system. Associated with private schools, it depended where you fell in the class system. And as I say, there was also a number of people, like you had your academics, the guys who were legitimately grafters. This girl was a walking A. It wasn't even in question. It's just how they conducted themselves. And I think it's that confidence boost that, you know, there could be this super interested kid who gets the teacher they deserve. The teacher will afford them the time to say, listen, okay, this stuff is probably now, you know, this is, for example, it's probably now beneath the level where you are. Let's push you a little bit forward. You pass your exam, no problem. Let's push you a little bit forward. Let's get you ready for university. You know, that's the kind of stuff you get in private schools. And then, you know, you have your academics. Then you have your flex clique, your sports boys, I'm not stereotyping because there were a lot of sportsmen, especially in my experience, sportsmen who were very intelligent, who just so happened to be athletically gifted as well as intelligently gifted. But there is a broad, you know, undifferentiated sort of mass of these sports guys, the guys who do sports. And those are the guys that carry themselves like they walk on water. And fair enough, I love that kind of confidence. And they performed. They did what they do very best. What limited them, in my opinion, was the fact that Zimbabwe doesn't have a sports program like outside everywhere outside where you could have advanced those kids and their ambitions. And those guys are working in different spaces. And you know, even in those areas, you find people who become disenchanted, who won't understand. And I'll admit to say that I was one of those people who was like, you know, it's not the being handed thing or being motivated, just become disenchanted because you have to deal with a lot when you're in that kind of situation, because it's like, because high school's a jungle. Let's not get it twisted. Where do I fit in it? Because you're looking for, you know, in those early ages, you're looking for a place where you belong, you know, a clique that is yours, that is for you, etc. So that stuff was really disorientating, especially for me, because it's like, okay, so where do I fit? So you got into this disenchanted phase, like we can't call it despondency, but it's just like where every day is just, you know, folding into one another and stuff like that. So you have kids like that, and it wasn't just me; it was a lot of other people who were in that situation. And eventually, I became an outcast, which is the other group. You know, the outcasts, the guys into weird interests and weird things, and the veritable, like how well those guys do is also it varies. It's across the board. There are guys who are also weird but very super talented, and there are guys who are weird who are just there. And it's difficult to motivate someone in that situation, because I think you have to know what their unique, you know, setup is, what they're going through specifically, to understand how best to motivate them. Because I'm sure even in public school when I was there, you could see people like that as well. That you do have the super smart people, and it's more likely in public school to get, the because you have to get out of situations, and education is said to be the one route. Of course, we know now that it isn't, but it's said to be the easiest route to getting out of anything. So they'll push ahead and forge ahead. Then there's everybody else who's just there to make up the numbers, who know that, like, listen, I'm not academically or athletically gifted. I'm just going to do my best. I have an idea in mind of where I'm going to go. And again, this is just me. It's a generalization for me. But then again, it falls both ways. I think the psychology is one. Like, no matter where you have kids, public or private school, they're going to go through some stuff, which speaks more to the education system than anything else, or which probably is a broad stroke. But again, you're going to see the similar things in both environments, be it public or be it private. But to Farah's point, like, how do you motivate people? Like, I think the one area that is lacking, I don't know if it's there at the school I was at, because we kind of had something like a life skills psychology coach or teacher or something like that. Yeah. But like in public schools, you won't get, someone who'll sit with a kid who's obviously struggling and say, you know what, I can see you going through some problems. Okay, maybe you might not want to talk about it now, but if you ever want to discuss anything, I'm open to it. Some people are lucky enough to get teachers who will allow them to do that kind of stuff. But it's not always, it's not an equal opportunity. In private schools, it probably is there now, where you get a school psychologist who you can just go and sit with and, discuss your issues and problems with, and they can give you the help you need to probably right the ship, and then see how lucky you are to be where you are and all the sacrifices going into, putting you in this position, etc. It's probably there, but again, it's not there in private schools. I think that's the only way you can get people out of that, or try to help them to find a solution to getting out of that.
Yeah. I think the thing is, just make the most of whatever situation you're in. Even if you're in private school, it's not a ticket to everything. And just on a random detour, like, I think it's important that the parents or the guardian, whoever's looking after the kid, can afford the school. Because it's one thing to have enough money for private school, and it's a different thing to be able to afford it, because that's two different things. And because it's not just about getting the kid in there, for the benefits that it has. Like, speaking even from experience, when you're dealing with a certain tax bracket and you're not really on the same level, and you're expected, because private schools have so much like extracurricular activities. So now the teachers, sometimes they don't consider the different tax brackets that are there, right? So some parents have like generational wealth that's crazy. And then some parents, it's like, we have enough. We opened, our little shop is doing well, so you guys, you're going to move over. But it's not the same, right? And then the school will be like, all right, we're going on a school trip. We're going to SA or whatever. So this is how much it is. And then your kid can't go. You know what I mean? Like, that'll demotivate them, because it's like, okay, your kid can't go.
Song. You know the song as well as I do. If you ain't got no money, take your broke home.
Exactly, right? Go home. And like, that'll still affect the kid in some way or not. Now, some people are motivated by stuff like that. They'll be like, you know what? No more of this. One day I'm gonna make sure that my kids don't have to go through this or whatever. But then it can also like
break them, man.
Yeah. So I think it's like, you have to weigh like how to go about it. Like, private school can be really, really beneficial. And I would say in our cases, it's worked out. But it's not like that for everyone. And I've seen people where it hasn't worked out for them because the negatives, unfortunately, influence them more. So yeah, I think, but I mean, overall, like, I agree with you guys. It has its benefits that are probably, it's more beneficial than anything else. But just to be cautious, because the experience isn't just being there. It's about what you go through when you're there as well.
That's true.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah.
Life is difficult. So if you have the option, let's say you guys have kids, right? Well, some of us are closer than others. Looking at you, FARAI. If you have kids,
You'll be surprised, man. Maybe I've got one on the way.
Probably one already out there in the bush. I would not be surprised. I'd be like, I knew it.
Just one, FARAI. Just one.
One on the way.
Oh, okay.
So, like, with all the things you guys have experienced, would you want your sons or daughters to go to public or private school? Let's say we. Okay. Look, I was gonna say let's eliminate like money and stuff, and say you've got enough to get them through it, and all that. Would you send them to public or private school? Let's say there's no homeschool option. Let's just say, would you let them go into that jungle?
I would. Like, after clearly stating what I think are the benefits, I would. But I mean, it's a dynamic and a fluid situation. It depends. If you see that, then maybe, I don't know, man. It's a difficult one. But I would. I think I would.
You send them to private school?
Yeah.
All right. And Shami?
Shami is firmly on the fence.
Did the internet drop off again?
Well.
Or maybe she's ignoring us because she doesn't want to answer the question.
Find out in the next episode.
Cliffhanger. But I wouldn't. Like, I wouldn't.
Why?
Okay. Probably just my own insecurities, though. Like, to say, as a parent, you parent with. Well, I'm going to say as a parent. Okay, if I was to parent, I would parent in the sense that I would probably let my fears motivate or make decisions more than anything else. And I don't know what kids are like these days, because when I was there, it was it was hell. But I wouldn't. I would take Shami's option and probably homeschool, or get them to get tutors. But obviously, they'll need interaction with other kids, of course. And
I feel like homeschooling is just too sheltered.
Well, they will get exposure and stuff like that. Like, I don't think I don't think school in itself really offers kids what they need going forward, because there's certain things you don't learn in university, or not university, in high school.
No.
Yeah,
but I think it does teach you some invaluable things about people in general and like dealing with people.
True.
So unless they have real unless you put like really good social structures around them to then learn those lessons. Well, yeah, for me, homeschooling is out. Like it's a hard one to justify, but I do hear you.
Yeah, because it's not like I'm going to teach them everything they need to know about life. But I think for me, it's more a case of, if the education system doesn't move from, teaching people things they don't need to learn, and giving them more of a variety. Like at 14 or 15, I think my kids should know what taxes are, like in depth, to know, like, this is how you deal with taxes, this is how you pay taxes, to know what the Constitution is, to know what politics is. I don't want for them to be a passion. No, I want them at least to get the base level knowledge. Exactly. So if there was a way if there's any way to hybridize the two, I'll probably do that. That they can get some social interaction at a school, but most of the schooling is done with tutors who probably know, who can give them more information than they would get. Because I don't think for sciences, obviously it makes sense to do the maths, biochems in a school, because that's the stuff you're probably going to need going forward. But for people who are going to be lawyers and accountants and anything or anything in the humanities, if the child has a natural affinity to the humanities, I think there's certain things they need to learn. Like, if someone is going to become a politician or whatever, I think the biggest thing any politician needs to learn is history. So yeah, it's one of those. So Shami, give us your answer real quick about whether you would homeschool, because you kind of ignored us. Homeschool or private school your kids?
Yeah, my network dropped, first of all. That's what happened. Yeah. No, homeschool would be awesome, but I think for the sake of interacting with people, I would still go private school, but I would only do private school if I'm Like, I would want to be on top of everything. Like, I'd want to be that tax bracket where no one can tell me anything. So I'd want to be like the freaking mayor of the school. You know what I mean? Like, it would be, this is my town. Those are my kids over there. So just, yeah, like I would be on top of it to make sure it's the type of school that I would, because you don't want to raise, like some people's kids. Anyway, the point is, not mine. But I would be micromanaging. I'd probably be an annoying parent, but it is what it is. But yeah, it would be fine. But homeschool would be preferred. And then, like what you're saying, Valentine, if there was a way to like merge, the different things together so that there's a balance. Please forgive my flu-ish voice. I apologize in advance at the end.
It's definitely a flu. So thank you very much for joining us for this segment, for this week's segment. And as is tradition, Shami will sign us off.
What? Okay. Yeah, so thanks for joining us again, and we will catch you guys in the next one. Bye.
Bye-bye.